Live. Let me just check on the feed. Welcome everybody. My name's Dan Latto. Hope you're well today. We are in not so sunny Spain here on a Wednesday, the 15th of April. It is pouring it down outside. I'll turn the camera around and show you in a few moments, I think, if I don't break everything. So we're filming outside. Got the wife and the little one at home. They're in the kitchen making lemonade, which is wonderful. But in this session today on the Property Cash Flow Show, I want to talk to you about what are you supposed to do now that we're in lockdown? I mean, we're in lockdown. This is day 32, I think, of Groundhog Day. Every day seems the same. It's very weird, very odd. We just had some more orders for food come. We've got a fancy camera coming on Saturday, hopefully, for us to do some more video editing and recording with, which is really cool. So we're looking forward to that. But also, what is it that you should be doing in your property business right now? You're stuck at home. There's not a lot you can do. There's not a lot anybody can do. I've seen some people out on site. You need to get off site and go home. If you're in construction, you need to leave the construction site. You need to go home. You need to be safe with your family. But while you're home, what is it that you can be doing? What are the things that you can do so that when you go back to work, you're actually hitting the ground running and you're not missing out on, like some people are just Netflixing and chilling, and that's great. That's wonderful. Some people, they may start doing that, and I started doing that, and then actually as we're going further and further into this lockdown, my rate of work has actually increased over a period of time. So what is it that you can do? So there's a couple of things I think that you should be doing almost instantly, and this is what we've been doing, and that's we've been ramping up some of our content. And the reason why we want to ramp up the level of content is that we want more people to know us. And the reason why we want more people to know who we are is that when the lockdown is lifted and we're back into normality, whatever that happens to look like, we're hitting the ground running. We're not, we haven't put on 57 pounds, although I'm not doing such a bad job on that at the moment. We're not doing putting a load of weight on. We're not just being sat on our butts watching Netflix. I'll talk about the mental health aspect in a minute. But for us, we're generating more subscribers. We're generating more downloads of the podcast. We're getting more Facebook views. We're getting more YouTube views. More people are signing up for the property sourcing training, for example. The link's down below than ever before. We made 3 sales this morning. It's a £27 product. And you might be like, 3 sales a day? That's rubbish. £100 a day. £100 a day, my friends, is £3,000 while we're sat in lockdown not doing anything every single month. And that, that's 3 sales this morning. Last week we did, I think it was 47 sales in a 2-day period. Now think about that. That's amazing, okay? And so we're out here creating content so that more people get to see what we're doing, and then they might decide to buy, or at least they'll start to follow us for a little bit, and then they might decide to buy. And that's exactly what you need to be doing as well. You've got to start putting yourself out there. Like I achieved this several years ago, and I achieved this because, like this concept I'm getting to in a minute, the way that we used to work going back maybe 7 years ago was vastly different to the way that we work today. And the way in which it's changed is that when I lived in the UK, and obviously I live in Spain now, but when I lived in the UK, I would get in the car, I'd drive an hour and a half, I'd go to Manchester, I'd speak at an event, which is great. And then I'd drive back another hour and a half. So the whole thing would take like 4 or 5 hours, and I'd speak to maybe 50 people. Awesome. That's what you're supposed to do. If you're going to a networking event, you should be the person on stage, by the way, not the person networking with everyone else. If I'm going to go to a networking event, the only reason I'm going to that is because I'm the guy on stage. The reason for that is if I can speak to all 50 people for 30 minutes, 40 minutes, an hour, and they're all watching me, listening to my message, that's much better than me going around with business cards, speaking on a one-on-one basis. That's what you should be doing too, okay? But 6 years ago, we moved here to Spain. I now can't jump on a plane, go to Manchester, network, jump on a plane, come home. That's just not how that works. So I had to get into this 6 years ago. And if you look at the YouTube channel, there's so many videos, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of videos. I think we're up to 370 odd podcasts that have recorded, and they're due to go out. The whole of May, in fact, is already scheduled with podcasts, which is amazing, by the way, and something we're very proud of. But going back 6 years ago, I had to make a change in my business. I had to start talking to camera. I had to go live on Facebook and live on YouTube. If you've got any comments, by the way, just stick them down below. We didn't have a choice. We had to do this. And when we started doing this, I realized that some of our videos have had several thousand people watching them. Some of them have had 2 people watching them as well, by the way. That's a real bruise for the ego That's just life, isn't it? But it doesn't matter how many views you're getting. Your people can see that you're consistently putting them out there. When we're on Facebook and we're live on Facebook, people come on, they watch for a few seconds, and then they disappear. And then somebody else comes on for a few seconds and they disappear. And you might go, well, that's rubbish. Why would I do that? The fact that you're live, the fact that you're coming on and people are seeing you, okay? And the more consistent that you get with that, the more that they're actually going to start watching, start paying attention, maybe join one of your groups, maybe join one of your training courses, whatever that happens to be. And I love what Gary V says about this. He says that, and I forget the exact wording at the moment, but his monetary system right now is attention. It's attention. The more attention you get today, for the right reasons, by the way, not the wrong reasons. Don't go mass murder 58 people because you'll get a lot of attention, but not for the right reasons, okay? Don't be a schmuck. You get a lot of attention for the wrong reasons. But if you go out and get attention for the right reasons, for helping people, when all this is lifted, guess who people are going to come to and watch when all that is over? So we had to do this 6 years ago because we didn't have a choice. I can't get on a plane and go to a networking event. I had to go live on Facebook. I had to go live on YouTube. We had to create a podcast system. All that is now created. So, for example, this particular video, which is live on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter, not LinkedIn because we're a pain in the backside because it's an application process, which is bizarre. I wish we could get through the application process, but we can't. We've done it twice. LinkedIn have still decided not to communicate with us at all. That's fine. It's up to them. We've only got 14,000 network connections on LinkedIn. Clearly, we're not big enough. Crazy. But the lesson that we learned from this was that we had to go out and we had to go live. We had to create attention. And that's what you should be creating right now as well, but doing it for the right reason. I noticed just last week, actually, one of the footballers, he's a Premiership footballer, but he's on £850 a week, which is still a lot, it's above the average wage. It's still decent, but he's a Premiership player. He's like 19 or 18 or something, and he's giving away something like 30% of his income to the NHS. And I love that. Well, he's garnering attention just for that basis as well, and that's definitely something that we should be doing too. So the whole point of this is that when this is lifted, people will remember you. People will know who you are. And I've done this. I walked into a room. I was at a networking event in Leeds, and several people came up to me who had never met me, but they'd seen me on Facebook. They'd seen me on YouTube. They recognized my voice. I'll tell you about that one in a second. But they came up to me and went, Dan, isn't it? I've seen you. I watch what you do. And you're like, who's this? There's this stalker. And it's just people who are watching you, like you're watching me right now. And if you go live, people are going to watch you, and people will come in and they'll go out. People will watch all of it, and some people will just watch a minute. Some people will disagree with you. Some people will agree with you. And if people are disagreeing with you, by the way, that's awesome too, because they're never going to get you on the phone and waste your time because they don't like you. Wonderful. If you don't like me, awesome. If you love me, even better. But if you don't like me, I'm very Marmite, you either love me or you hate me. There's no kind of in between, and that's totally fine. I'm totally okay with that. Because there's plenty of clients that come through from the 50% of people that actually like me, or 30%, or 10%, or 90%, whatever that percentage is. One of the other things that happened at a networking event, I was talking to this woman, and she was looking at me like a bit confused. And she went, I know you from somewhere. And she looked at my name badge, and then she was like, I've listened to your podcast. So she'd not seen any of my stuff. She just found me on iTunes, downloaded my podcast, and then she was looking at me a bit confused because she recognized the voice but couldn't place it. And so this is why you right now should be garnering attention for you as a person, for you as your business. People buy from people, okay? They might buy from businesses, but ultimately they buy from people. The 3 property sourcing sales that we made this morning, then, yes, they're making those because they want. This is straight line persuasion, by the way, from Jordan Belfort, Wolf of Wall Street. But they want the answer. They want the problem to be solved. And so, they're buying from that. But if they saw me as being an utter schmuck, they wouldn't be buying that, okay? There's people I see in the wealth creation arena, and I'm like, and by the way, it's really interesting because when you're on the inside, you get to know all these extra secrets about people. You're like, oh my gosh, holding people outside of helicopters, for example, is a big one. Which I can't mention. But you'd be amazed at some of the stuff that goes on when you kind of understand it. But people wouldn't be buying from me if I was a complete schmuck. Even if it solved their problem, they still wouldn't buy. And I've done that, by the way. where I've seen something and it's like, oh, I really want that. And then I see who's behind it. I'm like, I'm not going anywhere near it. So people buy from people. And so you got to allow yourself to be introduced to a greater audience. And one of the great ways of doing that is by going live. So if you're a property sourcer right now and you're stuck at home and you're looking for deals, well, first of all, that's very difficult. We do cover this in the property sourcing training, by the way. There's quite a lot of stuff that you can do online for finding deals and sourcing deals. Okay, that's number one. But number two is, when you've got the deal, what are you going to do with that deal? Who are you going to sell that deal to? And this is the bit where it's really important right now, because if you're going live on a daily basis or even a weekly basis, heck, even a monthly basis is better than none at all. Okay, but if you can start to do that and start to get consistent, I mean, we go live Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. We've got a new camera arriving hopefully Saturday, touch wood. And then we've got a whole bunch of videos that we've got lined up ready to create, but we haven't recorded yet because we wanted the extra quality on the better quality camera. It's a Canon M50, by the way, for those techie people who enjoy that kind of thing. But we've been producing content like this. And this is literally, I've got my laptop down here. I've got a ring light, which is why I'm so well lit. I can turn that off for you so you can have a look. Look at that. That's the difference. And that's still not bad, is it? I've got natural daylight facing me. Let's put the ring light back on. We've got a ring light and we've got a Logitech 920 camera just stuck on top of the ring light. That is literally our setup right now. And I've got that and a USB and a Wi-Fi connection, and we're good to go. And you can create as many videos as you want it to. And it doesn't even have to be 5,000 people watching it in one day. None of that even matters. We did a video. We had 173 views on this particular video at the time. And off that one video, we made a £5,000 sale. It was a 12-month coaching program. He saw how it worked was he found us on iTunes. That was it, because we came up on search engine rankings. He then went to YouTube and found me on YouTube, started watching one of the videos on Overwhelm, booked in a strategy session with me the next morning, which was Sunday morning. And by 11 a.m. that Sunday morning, £5,000 was in the account. So it doesn't have to be thousands of views. And by the way, these views that people get, where they're getting, like, we know who these people are, by the way. And they've got like 38,000 views on a video. When I saw yesterday, 19,000 views on a video that went out yesterday for a UK-based property educator. And you're like, come on, dude. We know that's bullshit. Everybody knows it's bullshit. What are you doing? You know? But we know that people are buying fake followers and fake subscribers and fake likes and fake views and all that extra stuff. You don't need to do any of that. Just don't worry about it. What you need to worry about is, have I gone live today? And if the answer is no, what can I go live about? What is a little bit of advice? What's a little bit of an opinion? Because whatever opinion you've got, there's someone out there that completely agrees. If you think aliens are us from the future, there's a million people that also agree with you on that, okay? It doesn't matter what it is. If you think knitting is the best hobby in the world ever, there's at least 1 million people in the UK right now who also agree with that sentiment. It doesn't matter what your opinion is, but if you don't express it, if you don't put it out there, there's nobody else that can find you that agrees with you that will then buy your stuff. It doesn't matter what it is. You've got to find a way of getting whatever knowledge you've got stuck up here, disseminating it out there so that people can listen to you, agree with you. You're going to qualify people in. You're going to push people away. Again, as we've said, that's perfect. That's not a problem at all. But that's exactly what you need to be doing in your business right now, because you're in lockdown. Heck, what else are you going to do? There's only much Joe Exotic Tiger guy that you can actually watch. Carol Baskin, by the way, for legal reasons. Did it allegedly? So there's only so much of that stuff that you can actually watch, and you're like, okay, I've done Netflix, I've completed Netflix. What next? So what else are you going to do? What else can you do right now that can enhance your business? Now, if you're furloughed, you could run the argument that you're not allowed to do it, in which case you need to go live about something else that's not directly related to your business. You could go live talking about what's going on in the world, about being an inspiration or a motivation, or little techniques for dealing with being locked up, for example. Let's just talk about the mental health aspect here for a second. So there's this meme going around saying something like, if you've not come out with a new skill or some new knowledge, it's not that you didn't have time, it's that you've wasted, that you haven't got discipline, okay? And I don't agree with that at all. If you can learn a new skill, that's awesome. And you should go learn a new skill if you can do that. But I know some people right now who are locked up in an apartment, you know, literally a studio apartment. Imagine being locked up in a studio apartment. And they are literally fighting for survival right now from a mental health point of view. The last thing you want is someone going, well, you're just lazy because you should be learning a new skill. Like, if you're ready to learn a new skill, then go learn a new skill. But if you're not ready for that, and actually Netflix and Joe Exotic is the thing that's getting you through lockdown, then that's exactly what you do need more of. If you're sleeping in till 11, well, by the way, I woke up at 10:30 this morning, which is really unusual. Normally it's about, we have a 5-year-old, so, it's normally 8 o'clock latest. But for whatever reason, I woke up late today. But that's a really bad habit to get into, and I know it is. But you know what? Honestly, right now, after 32 days of lockdown, if that's what you need to survive it, then that's what you need to survive it. But for those other people who are actually going, okay, no, I'm actually ready to do a little bit of work, not too much, just a little bit. What's the biggest bang I can get for my book? What's the biggest thing that I can do in the next 15 minutes? Go live. And that, my friends, will do us for today. Hope that's useful for you. We're live again on Friday. We missed Mondays completely, but we are live again on Friday, hopefully 12 o'clock, just depending on the Mindset and Hustle show. We'll speak to you then. Have a good day, and we'll speak to you soon. Stay safe.